The darker side of the Canadian housing bubble is where the money came from. For the last 15 years, Canada has effectively hung a "open for business" sign for the world's illicit capital. This is known as the Vancouver Model. International crime syndicates, corrupt officials, and tax evaders realized that Canada had a loophole. You could buy real estate through shell companies with almost zero transparency. You didn't have to say who the real owner was. You could show up with bags of cash at a casino, wash it, and buy a luxury penthouse. This phenomenon, known as snow washing, turned Canadian real estate into a global piggy bank for the world's dirty money. Reports estimate that billions of dollars were laundered through British Columbia and Ontario real estate alone. This massive influx of artificial demand disconnected local housing prices from local incomes. A dentist in Vancouver wasn't competing with another dentist for a home. He was competing with a shadowy shell company funded by capital flight from overseas. The government knew this was happening. Intelligence agencies warned them, but the government did nothing. Why? Because the influx of foreign money was propping up the GDP numbers. It made the politicians look like economic geniuses. The real estate transfer taxes filled the government coffers. The construction jobs kept the unemployment numbers low. They became addicted to the drug of foreign capital. And when the prices got too high for locals, the government didn't try to lower prices. They tried to increase the demand even further to keep the Ponzi scheme going. This brings us to the demographic shock. In recent years, the Canadian government has ramped up immigration to levels that are unprecedented in the developed world. We are talking about population growth rates of roughly 3% per year. This is faster than many developing nations in Africa. The government argues this is necessary to fill labor shortages. But the economic reality is that this is a demand-side stimulus for the housing market. When you bring in 1 million people in a year, but you only build 200,000 housing units, the price of shelter has to go up. It is basic supply and demand. This policy has crushed the rental market. Rents in major cities have skyrocketed, forcing young people and immigrants into overcrowding. We are now seeing slumlord listings in Toronto where people are renting out half a bed or a mattress in a kitchen for hundreds of dollars a month. We are seeing the explosion of tent encampments, dubbed Trudeau towns, in every major city park. This is the third worldification of a G7 nation. But the government cannot stop the population flow because if the demand drops, the housing bubble bursts. And if the housing bubble bursts, the banking system goes with it. This is the scary part. The banks. In the US, there are thousands of banks. In Canada, there's an oligopoly known as the Big Five. These banks control almost everything. They are massive. They are protected by the government. And they are exposed to the housing market to a terrifying degree. For years, these banks handed out mortgages like candy. But unlike the US in 2008, where the loans were ninja loans, no income, no job, Canadian borrowers generally had jobs. The problem wasn't the borrower's employment. The problem was the structure of the loan. In Canada, you cannot lock in a 30-year fixed